Oh my. Oh my goodness. So, hello. Hello, folks out there. Uh, so I just got done. Seeing an early screening of The Batman, Matt Reeves' new take on the Caped Crusader. It's March 1st. It's almost midnight. It was a 7 p.m. showing. Got out at about 10 p.m. because it's a 3-hour runtime. There's no previews in these early screenings, which is awesome. I got these the second they came out. I had to drive far to go watch it. I was joined by my buddy Nova, who's also a big Batman fan. And if you can't tell by my intro, I too am a big Batman fan, so I'm very picky. I must say, this movie is probably no. Let me start over. This movie is the best Batman movie ever. No question. It's not even close. And this is coming from a Keaton fan, okay? I grew up with Michael Keaton. I love the Tim Burton take. Of course, Christian Bale, second to none. The Dark Knight was my favorite Batman movie. This is better than The Dark Knight. And I know that's hard to say, especially if, you look at like what Heath Ledger did with the Joker. It's just like, how can you even compare? It's obviously they're two different movies, right? I think if a Batman movie comes out in 10 more years, that one's going to be better than this one. I'm just telling you right now, from what we've seen in live action, this is the best adaptation of the Batman. Speaking of the Batman's in this 95% of the time. We only see Bruce Wayne for like 10 minutes out of the 3 hours. No exaggeration. This movie is just exactly what we didn't even think we needed this as Batman fans. Like, we always kind of thought we wanted this, because when you look through the comics, and by the way, I got like a limited edition comic. It's not that big of a deal, but I'm pretty excited. I'm gonna flip through it. But this movie is like what the comics is, which is it's Batman. It's Batman solving crimes. It's Batman being a detective. The reason it's called DC Comics is it was originally Detective Comics, and Batman was the pillar of the comic book for DC. And we've never seen live action of it, so I don't think we needed it because the first adaptation was Michael Keaton and we liked it. It's not like we were picking that apart back in the day. We're just like, oh, we got a live action Batman. It's awesome. And then as it evolved, it changed and it morphed into something. But you never thought you needed like a legit detective movie for the Batman. Like, you always, again, I wanted it, but I never asked for it. And then when I saw this, I'm like, why the fuck did we not have this the entire time? Because the whole movie, he's, spoiler alert, he's side by side with Commissioner Gordon, and they're solving the Riddler and his clues. And, all these different, I'm not going to give a lot away here, but because it's all in the trailers. But he's actually solving these puzzles and these riddles, and he's intelligent, he's smart, and he's using, his brains and his gadgets to figure out, these clues. And it leads to something so much bigger. And again, I'm not going to give anything away. There's no spoilers here. But the entire movie is like obviously a detective movie, but it's also kind of like a horror movie too. Paul Dano, who plays the Riddler, is incredible. Like, to me, is up there with Heath Ledger's Joker. I'm telling you, you just got to see this movie. But he's up there, and he's not in it for a lot. I mean, he is. He's the main villain, but he's just not. Like Heath Ledger was in the movie, the whole movie, right, of The Dark Knight. Paul Dano just makes this movie, man. He does an unbelievable job as the Riddler, and very believable in a true villain, like a serial killer. It reminds me a lot of like Seven, if you're familiar with that movie. That's Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, and Kevin Spacey. That type of like sadistic killer mentality with a little bit of Saw, not like the cheesy Saw, but like the way you got to figure out things like the puzzle. And then what really got me in the very beginning, and I won't, again, this isn't like a spoiler, but Robert Pattinson's Batman is kind of like narrating the movie. So he's kind of journaling each day, which is very popular in the comics. So he's saying, October 31st, this is what happened. And it's super interesting because it takes you in this different way of looking at it, where you're looking at the view of, or excuse me, the view from Batman. And then, we can talk about a lot of stuff here, but Colin Farrell plays the Penguin. Unbelievable. I heard they're working on a spinoff for HBO Max. I hope that happens because he is bringing something to the Penguin that we've never seen before. A very realistic, gritty mobster take. And, it's the Penguin. He is the Penguin. He does such a great job. And then, obviously Catwoman, Zoe, she's incredible in this as well. And then everything is just fantastic. But to top it off, to end it at this, because I don't want to give too much away, but Robert Pattinson, I don't want to say he's the best Bruce Wayne, because again, he doesn't really get a chance to, show off his character as Bruce Wayne. That's what's cool about this is year 2 as Batman. So as Bruce Wayne, he's also still trying to figure out how to juggle these two things, which again, we've never seen before. Because normally with most movies, what do we see? We see Bruce Wayne. He's a billionaire, kind of like an Iron Man type thing that you would picture. He's got the girls, he's got the gadgets, he's got the money. He's a bachelor, right? Like he's a billionaire. Like that's just how he is. Not here. Not in Matt Reeves' take. Because he's still trying to figure out how to be Batman and Bruce Wayne at the same time. So he's struggling a little bit with that internally, and it shows. But as he's Bruce Wayne, he's still kind of Batman, though. So like there's one scene, it's already released online, so again, I'm not spoiling anything. But there's one scene at the funeral home, and I won't tell you who dies, but he goes to this funeral, and the commissioner's there, and everyone else is there, cops are there, and he's like trying to listen for clues, and he's trying to be Batman essentially when he's Bruce Wayne still, because that's his real. That's who he really is. Bruce Wayne is the mask, essentially. And he's still trying to figure out how to juggle and how to be that billionaire. So there's a lot of room for that character to grow. But, and the Batman himself, he makes mistakes, because he's only the second year being Batman. Normally when we're used to seeing Batman in other live action films, he's been Batman for a while. He's got the best gadgets, the high tech stuff. This new Batman, Robert Pattinson's version, he's just getting started. So his equipment's a little bit, rusty. He's still trying to figure things out. There's a lot of trial and error. Sometimes he makes mistakes. Sometimes he gets injured. Sometimes he, there's a lot that goes down, but it's so real. It's so gritty. Just Matt Reeves does a great job directing it. The writing is fantastic for everything that goes down with just the storylines getting tied together. There's so much I want to talk to you about it, but I don't want to spoil anything. You just need to see this movie. It is, again, the best Batman movie ever. And I think it's going to be hard to beat. And I would even say it might be the best superhero movie ever. And I just saw Spider-Man No Way Home. I know there's a lot of, No Way Home folks out there that are going to be upset about that. But I'm telling you, man, like if DC sticks to this model, they're going places. Like, I thought Zack Snyder was the only way this could happen. But I am very impressed with what Matt Reeves did and Robert Pattinson's Batman. Very impressed. He nailed it. Fucking nailed it. Nailed the voice, because it's not Christian Bale. It's not Michael Keaton. It's his own thing. It's not Ben Affleck. It's not like mechanical. He made his own thing. And there's been a lot of Batman. So think about that. That's hard to, there's only so many voices you could do. But he made his own thing. It's just so good, man. It's so good. You got to see it. I can't wait to see it again. I saw it on the 1st. I'm going to have to wait until the 4th because that's when it's actually out. I saw an early screening of this, but it's fantastic. Just well done for everybody involved. As a Batman fan, I am so excited because this was the movie that we've been waiting for. and I cannot wait for more. Oh, there better be more.